So, hello again from Blockspeak. Got a busy schedule in the coming weeks. I think we're doing 4 or 5 interviews in the next week. Things are flying for us at the moment, getting huge amount of views. Just reinforce the fact we love downloads. And we have a wonderful guest today who is not a male, because everybody in blockchain and crypto, apart from the amazing crypto queen who was on earlier. We have a woman on the show, and I'm delighted to welcome Elise Sam to the show. She's going to be talking about her stable coin, Give Nation, which I think is going to be very interesting. Her previous career, and I believe you've written a book. I try not to research my guests too much or to stalk them. And then we just riff, and off we go. So Elise Sam, welcome to Blockspeak. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you. It's good to be here. How are you?
I'm all right, yeah, not bad. I'm down south of London, about 40 miles. The weather's been great recently. I've been buzzing around on a CX500 motorbike, an old Japanese motorbike that's much loved in America, actually. And I know that you have sunflowers, and sunflowers are a big part of my life. And I thought you're in Florida, but that's the Sunshine State, right?
Right. I'm in Kansas, the sunflower state.
Oh, I see. It's Kansas. So it's not all about Dorothy and all of that stuff. It's about sunflowers.
Yes, it is. And that's about all that's here. Me and sunflowers. So,
I remember going to the south of France when my son was about 12 months old, and there was a row of sunflowers. And I said to my wife, like, stop the car, let's just get Jack and just put him above all these sunflowers. And it was one of those things, I would do it later. So in our family, that became known as sunflowerism, that if you didn't do it, don't be sunflowerist, go and do it straight away. So obviously they mean weirdly too much to me, but that's a bit weird. So Elise,
pick it up here. We have to implement that. So.
I had a mate that used to always wanted to stand in oh God, I know a lot about sunflowers. He always wanted to run naked through a sunflower field and with a crash helmet on and just stop.
You can here. We have miles of them, like miles, fields and fields, and they're miles. I mean, they're huge. So you could run naked and get lost in them here.
Well, once America is open and the world has gone back to normal, I think I might do that. But most sunflowers don't have a Bitcoin sign as in your background in the middle or the kernel of the flower. So you're obviously a crypto and a blockchain enthusiast. So tell us about yourself and how you got here, and just give us a picture of you.
Well, I like to tell people that I came to Bitcoin by accident because I was a hospice and home health nurse for 12 years, and I got hit by a semi truck and it plowed into me. And I sustained multiple spinal injuries, and I have a metal plate for a clavicle and broken bones throughout my body. And so nursing became very difficult. Well, I was an early investor in Bitcoin because I was a crypto nerd, and I grew up on IRC, so I wasn't always pretty. And and I just went all in. I took out my nursing retirement for the last 12 years, knowing that I was going to be disabled. And I went all into Bitcoin and ETH. And this was 5 years ago. So I've been in for a minute, and it's been fantastic. So from there, I got writing assignments because it was the one great thing that I could do. I was a poet, a published poet at a very young age. And so I was like, oh, I can figure out writing, we'll work it out. And I authored the first book and second book on stable coins. So
wow, what were the book? What a great story, man! Jesus. Well, I mean, a tragic story as well. So whose fault was it when the truck hit you? Was it their fault?
oh my gosh, she was an unlicensed semi-truck driver, and I was stopped at a red light and it hit me into another semi-truck, and it was a 7-car pileup. And there's pictures of it, and I had a really decked out, really nice Chrysler 300 that I rode around in and took my patients places in if I needed to. And it looked like an accordion, just like, and they don't know how I walked away from it. I did. I had spinal injuries, but I walked away. So
Bloody hell. So are you kind of incapacitated for the foreseeable future? I mean, has it literally changed your life?
Oh, it completely changed my life. I was on bed rest recovering from spinal surgery, and my husband and I got pregnant. And then I had an autoimmune disease. I suffered from hyperemesis scarovideum. So after that, with a spinal injury, I got down to 88 pounds in my pregnancy, and I'm 5'10". So I had a BMI of under 12, and I was going to die. And the Bitcoin, the crypto community, that was all I had. I had no family, no friends really. I had a couple of really close people that have been there my entire life, but after I was a nurse, and it literally took food to my patients' homes because they didn't have running water or food. So I cooked for them and took it to their homes, and employed tons and tons of nurses all over town. But I had no help, no medical care, nothing during that time.
It's funny when, I mean, I've had motorbike accidents. I mean, I used to drive a motorbike around London for a living. I did it for 12 years and I broke my foot and I should have had my foot amputated and all that stuff. It's amazing what kind of courage that you find within yourself when you undergo something like that. But I mean, I've nothing like that. Pregnant, another autoimmune disease, spinal injury. I mean, it's almost like Bitcoin saved my life. I think we might use that as the title of this show because already it seems to symbolise what happened to you. Well, what do you mean that the community rallied round for you? How did that work?
Oh, they threw a fundraiser for me, actually. I needed multiple surgeries. I had over 30 stomach surgeries because I had a PICC line and a G tube. I was getting nutrition two separate ways because I was starving to death. And so Jen Grayson, one of the Women in Blockchain founders, and pretty big in this space for a while, she and a bunch of other girls that I was really close to, they threw a fundraiser for me with Kyle Ray, who's a crypto trader. He's a live trader and anime actor. And I mean, like, these were some of my only friends at the time.
Yeah.
And they were there for me and when nobody else was. So, but, like, I hate to sound so passionate and loving about blockchain and crypto, but I had nothing. Like, I mean, I potentially would have been absolutely suicidal if I didn't have this community, because I felt like I was losing everything. I lost my estate during that time because I was so sick and didn't have health insurance. And honestly, Bitcoin was a great way that I was trading and able to pay bills and take care of myself and my family. And then also, I was writing and it was becoming my sole focus, my career, trading, learning the technology, and then founding my own crypto. So, yeah.
Bitcoin saved my life. Jesus, don't talk suicide. We want you alive, right?
Oh no, I was saying, like, I was a mental health and hospice nurse. And so I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
when everything is taken from you, you can put hope into something, or you can just wallow in that depression. And I felt like if I didn't have my Bitcoin Prozac, if I didn't have my antidepressant, everything else was falling beneath me. I had nothing else. And so it was what kept me going every day. I couldn't get up and take care of my patients anymore. I couldn't take care of my family because I was sick. So I had no quality of life, I felt. But I did, because I felt like I had purpose. Nobody else was working this technology. It was really new back then, and I saw it as the future. So it kept me going. It allowed me to fight for my life, even when they told me that I shouldn't anymore. Like when I was pregnant with my child, he's almost 3 now,
Yeah.
but they said, if you don't have an abortion, you both will potentially die. And, I was just like, that doesn't seem right for me. I feel like there's another way, and call it stupid or something. Staying focused on the technology and learning it really it made me feel, even if it was false hope, it gave me hope.
Yeah, and took you from the depths. Absolutely, I've never heard a more impassioned defense of cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin. I mean, you got Bitcoin, I've got this behind me. I think Franz Kafka once said that all I am is literature. And that's pretty much what keeps me alive, is all the books that I've read behind me. And I was actually thinking, I don't have a bookcase anymore. I'm starting to build a library. You know what I mean? That's my takeaway from the thinking this week. Okay, so how did it go? So you were a published poet at a very young age. So you obviously could use a pen. So what was the chronology? That you, hospice nurse, semi-truck, bad accident, an epiphany, a child, a love of Bitcoin. What came first? Was you said you'd written 2 books on stable coins? Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, I was a excuse me. I was a published poet as a teenager. So my first publication was at 15. I got International Poet of the International Poet of the Year Award. Try to say that 5 times fast. Yeah, you know what? I'm a poet, but I can't read any of my poetry apparently. And so
I know it, and I hope I don't blow it.
yeah, exactly. I blew it already. But that's okay because I got an award from Bo Derek, so that was fantastic.
You got an award 10 from 10, basically.
I did, yeah. I didn't know who she was. She was very pretty.
Well, you know, we all remember, well, some of us remember Bo Derek very fondly. Very fondly.
You do. Did you give her a sunflower, Monty?
Oh, man. Yes, I think I would probably give her a sunflower, even now.
Oh, man.
Oh, God, you've embarrassed me. Very good. Okay, so you're a published poet. Well done on the award and the accolade. That's amazing. So you're International Poet of the Year, which is, blimey, I mean, I'd like that award. You know what I mean? So what happened after that?
Well, I'll award it to you. After that, I left my nerd and I went off to nursing school. And so I graduated with a nursing degree and I practiced medicine. And that's all I did. I took care of the dead and the dying and the mentally ill for 12 years. And then I lost my home in a fire and was hit by a semi-truck a week later.
Fire? I mean, what do they call you? Lucky?
Very lucky.
Lucky Elise. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yep. So, yep, it was 2 days after Christmas. So the home went aflame. And then a week later, it got plowed by a semi truck. And it was time for a new beginning. And that's where crypto came in. Obviously, I was like, the universe doesn't want me on this path. We're going to have to go somewhere else because I'm having a big roadblock here. Even if I wanted to continue down this path, there's no house to go to. And you can't get in the car and drive now. So we got to find another way. And so this seemed like it was my way. And like I said, I pulled out my retirement, went all in. And
so at that time, then you invested into Bitcoin. You invested in your payout.
Oh, I invested 6 years ago. So, wow. And then I went all in 5.
Good on you. So you made a few quid or a few $.
Yeah, I made a little bit. It went to medical bills, but I did.
Oh, no, absolutely. Have you managed to build your house again? Have you got a new house?
Yeah, we have rebuilt. Actually, we rebuilt a couple. We've invested in properties. So
right. So you're back on your feet. Well, I'm really pleased to hear that because that's a. I mean, do you know what? I'm going through a slightly turbulent time in my life at the moment, and I felt as if I got a little bit of a bad back this afternoon. I mean, I feel fantastic now compared to what you've had to go through. Honestly, Jesus Christ! I thought I kind of self-sabotaged or got myself into scrapes. But Jesus, great respect to you. Great respect. So did you see yourself as a trader then? Were you a trader or an investor? How would you have described yourself?
I didn't know what I was. I just knew it was the future. As soon as I learned what Bitcoin was, I saw medical records, I saw voting mechanisms. I saw, the complete future. So I didn't know if I had to be a trader or if I had to be a dev. I started learning coding because that was one of the only ways that you could get in back then. And so I was in a bunch of trading groups and doing that and learning code on the side. I got my training. I started emailing leaders in the industry. And mind you, this was 5 years ago, so it was very easy access back then. So Dmitry Buterin actually trained me in blockchain, Vitalik's father. Yeah. So, and at that point I was like, man, at that point doors started opening. You saw marketers for ICOs around 2016 or so, and it was just a lot easier to get in the door. But at that point, like, I had learned and tried to figure out how to do everything because I didn't care. Like, I just knew it was the future. And I think I was right. So.
You were. That is, well, listen, after being a poet, everyone should be a poet, so that's thumbs up. But doing things for others, and then for everything to fall apart, and then to get lucky-ish with the price of Bitcoin and going all in, that's also brave. I think you deserve it. You know what I mean? So I think you deserve it for the rest of your life, personally. Okay, so then you wrote a book. Is that right? About stablecoins. So what was it called? Tell me more. I'll read it.
Well, it started off as an article. I got assigned a Christmas article on stablecoins because there was nothing out there about them 3 years ago.
Were you working as a journalist then? Was that something else?
I did a lot of ghostwriting.
Right.
So, yeah, I write for like 13 different crypto magazines, and I did a lot of ghostwriting. And so I got this assignment and wrote this fantastic article on stablecoins, and there was nothing else out there. It was the first published. Well, it was
after this chat. I'd like to read it.
Sure. Yeah, I'll give you a free copy, of course. And your listeners can have a free copy too.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, we'll link you below how to get it. And so, yeah, the article was great. It was fantastic. Well, then they published it with this naughty, sexy nurse on it. And I was like, what the hell did you just do? And you can see that I'm just pretty conservative. And,
realize the image. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was a sexy nurse, and that's how they were advertising my work, and it really hurt my feelings. The women in blockchain community got in an uproar, and I gave them the $200 they gave me to write the article back, and I made them unpublish it. So then I took that. Thank you. I took that and I made a book out of it. And it became the Stablecoin Guide 2020. And then the expansion of that is Stablecoin Academy, which is a university text on stablecoins being taught in universities throughout the globe. And Don Tapscott just picked up my book, and he's actually publishing it through the Blockchain Research Institute. So a bunch of Fortune 500 companies will now have their hands on it, thanks to my dear friend Don. So I love you. And Alex is writing my forward. So I'm really blessed and very thankful.
Blessed. I'm a bit uncomfortable with the word blessed because I was at a conference in Amsterdam, I think, on an island. It was like a rave in the end. It's amazing. PHX, Phoenix Rising. And there was a really irritating panelist who shall not be named, who actually was really nice and had done really good work, but she was really unpleasant, I thought, an unpleasant person. And I was getting more and more irritated by her. And then she said she was blessed. And I said, what? Did the Archangel Gabriel come down and kiss you on your forehead? No, you're not blessed. You're just lucky. I'm sorry, I do have a bit of a problem with blessed. No disrespect to you, obviously, because you're a different type.
You're not going to do well running naked through the sunflower fields. Every Southerner is going to say, oh, bless you. Oh, I hope you have a blessed day. Bless your heart. Bless this, bless that. So you just might as well not come down here and get naked in the sunflowers because you're not going to be accepted.
Kansas is not for me as much as nursing homes and nurses' outfits are not for you. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I mean, I've got nothing against sexy nurses, obviously, but that's outrageous, man. I mean, and fair play for you standing up to that, because that is just, as a certain type of person in this country says, that's bang out of order. That is bang out of order. Shouldn't be allowed. And clearly, you did a great job. So the second book has been published or not?
Yeah. They both have been self-published, and then Don Tapscott's company is actually going to put it through his publishing company now.
What's going to be on the cover?
Well, Don's going to do the visuals. My 17-year-old that I mentor in Silicon Valley did my visuals on the self-publishing. So it's oh, well, actually, I have it right here.
By going.
Oh, you can't see it. Oh, let me take off the. Oh, I just pulled myself off here.
I don't see anything else.
There we go.
Hey, it looks very academic.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
That's a Roman emperor on the front, right?
It is. It is.
Augustus?
You know, I'll have to ask Kusha who it is. I'm embarrassed to say that I knew at one point, but I knew if I'd be called out on it, I'd forget.
Let's just say it's a Roman emperor.
Yeah.
This is a very, very fun conversation. And fab. Okay, so 2 books. I don't need to make a synopsis of what you said. I think it just stands for itself. But now I understand that you are now the founder of a stable coin. Not only do you write about stable coins, you've gone all in, put your money where your mouth is, and you set up a stable coin, I believe, called Give Nation.
Right. Yeah. So my stablecoin book is an effort to become an expert. And I found Arno St. Paul, which some of you guys, your staff and everybody said that they had already met, and they described him as a wonderful Frenchman. And I agree, he definitely helped save my life during like rough times. So I absolutely adore him. Yeah. And we are founding Give Nation, which is a stable coin that rewards children for learning and altruism. So we're really excited to do that because a lot of people have seen crypto to make money or, to have like overcomplicated tech solutions sometimes. And we're using this technology for good, and we're rewarding children to give back to employ a more empathetic society.
Okay, so so I'm all over technology for good. We had a guest on the show about a month ago who said that what he said from this point was, are you working for yourself or are you working for the planet? And that's kind of stuck with me. And I've got some conversations coming up over the next couple of weeks where I'm going to try and put my money where my mouth is and start actually helping, as opposed to kind of getting fat on the profits of technology, which I've done before. And I think it's time I put something back. So I've spoken about technology for good, blockchain for good. I think the charity sector is one of the sectors that is quickly benefiting from blockchain. No, not so much waste, you know what I mean, especially in emerging economies and all that stuff. But I'm slightly confused. So it's Give Nation. So give us a kind of user journey there. How does it work? I'm a little bit confused.
Well, Give Nation is on your mobile app. So we're on the iTunes and Google Play Store, and you download the application and kids can go on there and you can put their allowance on there, or they will be able to go on and take educational classes and be rewarded in token. And then they can take that token and they can go spend it in the curated marketplace where we have items that are eco-friendly, or they can go over and they can give to charities. If they give to a charity after they learn about it, we don't want them to feel like they have a sense of loss. And so if they save a puppy's life, we reward them in stablecoin again, so that they'll still want to give. Because they say that giving, you shall receive. And it's absolutely scientifically studied that giving makes you happier. It allows more cash flow to come in because you're not so, attached to it. And then these kids are doing a gaming element, which they're, it's real life. So, if they're pushing buttons, and making decisions on the phone, we want them to be more self-aware. You really are giving to that charity. And then the blockchain tracks, where the charitable donation donations go. So kids have, we've solved the problems with transparency in charity as well.
Right.
And so it's a full circle. And then if kids save too, and we want to teach entrepreneur classes, we're connecting with the different educational systems throughout the world that have different specialties. We've got privacy covered. We've got the London Institute of Banking and Affluent International covering our math, which is, the highly most sought after mathematics, educational program in the world. So we're really excited about that. We've got UNICEF helping us with some charities. And so we're just gaining like all these experts, and then, building a business where kids go and they want to learn, and then they're rewarded to learn, and then we're building a video game on top of that.
Yeah.
And we're going to game all these charities in real time so that they can actually interact things. They're making a pizza, they're boxing the pizza after they grow the tomatoes, yada, yada, yada. And businesses will come in and make donations, and these kids will be gaming this like Minecraft in real time, doing good. So
absolutely, I think. Well, I mean, you bolt on a gaming element to that, and you're going to rocket away far into the atmosphere. So it's an app for kids. So what the demographic is, like the kid between 8 and 15 or something like that.
Yeah, 5 to 18 is what we're covering. Kind of like, I don't know if you have it overseas, but we have a Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts of America here. Oh, okay, yeah. And, as the kids get older, we would like to employ something attractive there where they want to mentor the younger kids and, in STEM and art too. We want to incorporate STEAM. But because all these kids are wasting so much time, doing things that aren't fulfilling. And we want to develop community, and we want them to use tech, but we want them to do it, consciously.
So it's kind of I hate this phrase because I used to work in kind of the early stages of reality TV, the first series of Big Brother when it was in the UK. And the word at the time was edutainment, and it still makes me sick saying it. But sometimes it doesn't seem to be the right word, you know what I mean? So that sounds let's just think of another word that isn't that word so I don't have to say it again. But that's effectively what you're doing. You're treating them with respect, you're giving them the wherewithal to spend their allowance or their pocket money, they call it over here, and empowers them to do that. And I mean, I just give an example with my kid who's 17 now. Over the years, he's at a gorilla sanctuary. He looked after a gorilla. There's a donkey in Spain somewhere. I don't know, all these things that arrive from other parts of the family. I've always thought it was a waste of time. It's great, but there's no thank you for the letter saying that I'm looking after a gorilla. Thank you for the letter that's saying I'm looking after a donkey. That's it. It doesn't go any further, does it? It's like kind of almost guilt money, I suppose. But if you can extend it, it's interesting. I just read Humankind. It's a book by a guy, I think he's Austrian, I can't remember, Dutch maybe, called I can't remember his name. Rutger Bregman, and it's about humankind. That in fact that we're a lot kinder than we think we are. We've fallen for this kind of trope that we're 6 meals away from anarchy and we're naturally evil, and this pandemic we're all going to kill each other and all that stuff. And he explodes the myths about it's always been a good story that we're animals and we're horrible, but we're actually really kind all the time. If you were in a restaurant and I was in a restaurant and you leaned over to me and said, "Excuse me, would you mind me passing me the salt?" I'm not going to say, "No, fuck off. You can't have the salt." No, of course I will give it to you because naturally kind.
It depends on the day, doesn't it, Monty?
Sorry?
It depends on the day, doesn't it?
That's a very good point. But I don't think I'd ever tell anyone to fuck off if they wanted to. But it's just that we're made up of these type of things. And I've been consulting for a gifting company recently. We're a little bit in stealth, so I'm not allowed to mention the name. But one of the kind of the mission statements or what phrases that we were coming up messaging was, you're kinder than you think you are, because I think we are. And I think that especially in times like this, things that you're doing and bringing kids on, and then showing them responsibility, almost financial responsibility, soulful responsibility, and then taking them through to their adults and where they make different types of decisions. is to be really, you know, bearing in mind your experience of life, you know, give nation, one world, you know what I mean? Amazing.
Thank
So we're coming to the end. I suppose we have to do some kind of silly stuff. Bitcoin saved your life. Is it going to continue to save your life? Do you think the price is going up?
Oh, absolutely. Of course it is. So, I mean, there's nothing else to say other than that. I mean, the technology is great. It's getting bigger. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is saying invest in 3 things right now: gold, silver, Bitcoin.
Did he say that?
He's said it for about 8 months now, nonstop. Mm-hmm.
You know what? I had lunch with a friend of mine who was the first Russian Rhodes Scholar at God, I must have something to do with Eton and, you know, the top universities. And he told me about this book, and I'd never heard of it before, you know, like whatever. And then literally the next day I was doing a quiz in the Times, like 10 difficult questions, and it said, who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad? I was like, what the? And so, you know, those kind of creases in the universe that maybe happened when your house went on flames and then you were hit by a semi-truck and then autoimmune disease. I hope that Bitcoin keeps going up just for your sake. I hope that your life is amazing for the rest of the time. And I've got a feeling, Elise, that you're going to do something special if you haven't done it already. And I am privileged to have been able to speak to you. I don't think I'll be coming to Kansas if I don't like the word blessed, although I may run naked for a sunflower field very well. I don't know. When are sunflowers out? Do they come out in the summer?
They come out in the spring.
In the spring.
They start blossoming really heavily in the summer, but they start coming out in the spring.
When's the best time to pick them?
You're not supposed to pick them.
Oh.
I'm a hippy dippy. You're just supposed to let them grow.
Oh, really?
You can pot them and put them in the house in a nice pot, maybe, but you should let them grow.
All of my life, I bought women sunflowers, and now I realise that I've been doing it wrong. It's a very important conversation for me right now, I'm telling you.
I don't think most women agree with me. It's okay. Like, I think most women want roses and stuff. I think I'm a bad excuse for a woman, like in that sense, because I'm very practical. I think you're supposed to buy women flowers, though. So I think you've done a good job.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, maybe not as good as I thought I had. Hey, Elise, Sam, thank you very much for joining us on Blockspeak today. It's been refreshing, not only to have a female on the show, but someone who's managed to kind of, you know, the slings and arrows of misfortunes that I think Shakespeare spoke about. You know, you've managed to prevail, and I have a feeling that, well, unless America falls apart or you get caught in an earthquake or a tsunami hits Kansas, which is likely to do, but if you're around, I hope you stay clear of all those tragedies and disasters. And good luck with GIF Nation. Kind of give us a shout back next year. It'd be great to have you on to see how it's been getting on, because we at Blockspeak, you know, we support initiatives and kind of brains such as yours. So thank you very much. To everybody else watching, we'll be back next week. We have some awesome guests coming on, but I think they're going to have to do quite a big job to live up to the one that we've just had. Thank you very much, Elise. Peace and love. See you later.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.